Good morning again, guys. Rainy Monday morning here for me. So just kind of a heads up as to what's going on. By now, I'm assuming, unless you've had your head in the sand all weekend, you know that we've pulled out of Afghanistan. The country has fallen to the Taliban, and of course, the world is blaming Biden. Which basically they should. Okay, this is 100% on him, as much as he's trying to blame Trump, which is always the typical Democrat way of doing things. Blame your predecessor for your failures. This one is 100% on Biden. A lot of people have called it his Saigon moment, but it gets a little more interesting than that. Now, whether you know or not, Biden is on vacation at the moment, okay, up at Camp David, and hasn't said a word, hasn't answered a single question, made a statement, anything all weekend, all right? And obviously this went down over the weekend. You've got the point where there are video and photos of C-130s on the airport in Afghanistan trying to evacuate American people, and you have Afghani citizens trying to hold on to the airplane to keep it from going anywhere because they want to get on board. That's how desperate this is, okay? And just so you guys understand the human rights issue here on this, 20 years now that we've been over there, women started to get some rights. I was reading a story the other day about a girl who's 2 months from completing college, and now the Taliban comes in, and of course, what do you mean? You mean, women are second-class citizens, head-to-toe coverings, can't work, can't do anything, and here's a girl who's about to graduate college. But that's not the point, okay? What my point is this, how this affects us, okay? And it does on a couple of levels. Now, if y'all are familiar with who Jeff Van Drew is, Jeff Van Drew is a congressman from New Jersey. And if you remember a couple of years ago, he was the Democrat who changed parties, became a Republican. Now, of course, that doesn't make him a staunch conservative or anything like that. That means he tipped slightly right, okay? Kind of put him maybe in the rhino category, even though the rhinos may tip slightly left. Van Drew is calling for the Biden administration to resign, okay? Now, not just Biden, Harris, Pelosi, Schumer, everybody, okay? He's calling for their resignation. Not that this is going to go anywhere, but this is kind of what I was talking about the other day, where Biden's approval ratings are in the toilet. All right, keep dropping. There's more people that disapprove with his presidency than approve at this point, which, considering he's dropped, I think, like 12 points or something like that since he's taken office, might have something to say that all the Democrats who supposedly voted for him are a little disenchanted with his presidency so far. Of course, you get Jenssaki is, on vacation. Probably the biggest crisis that we have in the country right now, in the world, okay? And, the president of the United States is on vacation. Mentally, he's never been at work anyway, so what's the point? But the rest of the administration is trying to figure out what the hell to do, so it's like, let's go stick our head in the sand, pretend like it doesn't matter, and maybe it'll all go away. It's kind of how they handle, I don't know, gas prices, food prices, inflation, the southern border, COVID, Afghanistan. If we ignore it, it'll go away. This is how Democrats govern, okay? Bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. I mean, Jimmy Carter's got to be just absolutely beside himself, giddy, because, so far the 21st century has shown us two Democrats as president, and both of them will go down in history as worse than Carter, who was pretty much gone down as the worst president in history. Now, here's where it gets a little worrisome for all of us. There are stories at this point that the U.S. is going to take in somewhere around 100,000 refugees. Now, for a country the size of Afghanistan, that's not a lot. But let's add 100,000 more people coming into this country, not including the, 250,000 that came across the border last month from from Central America, maybe some South America. Let's add another 100,000 to it. So your tax dollars can go pay for more people's housing, education, food, whatever would be, okay? Because we've got all this extra money to spend in the United States, right? Or at least Washington thinks so, The hell with the fact that we'll go over $30 trillion in any minute, But, here's the problem. We saw that DHS warning the other day about the terror threat, okay? And yes, I agree who it was all directed at in one respect, and then there was also who it was also directed at in another respect. We bring in 100,000 Afghani refugees, and how hard is it for somebody to sneak in? You know what I mean? Okay. I'm a refugee, I'm a refugee, I'm a refugee. And the next thing you know, he's a Tsarnaev. Let's look at what happened to London. Let's look at what happened to Germany. I mean, there are cities in Germany that were completely taken over, okay? There are places in Great Britain where the police are afraid to go into and won't go into because it's turned into a third world nation, okay? We don't need to be the world's police. We don't need to be the safe refuge for everybody in the world. I mean, let's think about it. Gee, something happened in North Korea. Gee, something happened in China. Gee, something happened in India. Gee, something happened in Afghanistan. Gee, something happened in Mexico. Let's just open the doors and everybody can come to the United States. I mean, I forget who the congressman was, complete moron, that said something a few years ago about an island tipping over or something like that from so many people coming in. I mean, the guy's Democrat, but the guy's an idiot. But you get the point. You can't take the population of the world and say, come to the United States, because the United States isn't a landmass. The United States is a collection of people. That's what defines the country, not geographically where it is on a map, okay? And when you start bringing in a whole bunch of people that have a complete different thought process, let's just say Sharia law, okay, or whatever would be, it's not, that changes the country. If you, hypothetical here, okay, if you took every single person in Iran and move them to the United States, and every single person from the United States and move them to Iran, is the United States still where everybody wants to go? No, okay? It's not the landmass that is what we're trying to save here, guys. It's our way of life. And this is what the Biden administration is completely failed upon. Y'all know I don't like the guy, okay? No question there. If he was removed from office, that'd be wonderful. Even Van Drew says, let's bring in some more moderate Democrats. We got to bring somebody different in. This guy is going to run this country into oblivion. 8 months into his presidency, and he has not a single success. Don't tell me the infrastructure bill, because that's a catastrophe, okay? But he has failed in every single thing for you and for me, okay? Like I said, food prices, gas prices, the invasion on the southern border, COVID, whatever would be. The guy's got to go. And when you see congressmen, when you see pundits, the news media questioning what's going on, he's losing support of his own party, and he's losing support of the state-sponsored media. Guys, shit's about to get real, okay? Washington's falling apart. And if we wind up in anarchy because of it, you better be prepped up. Have a good one. Pinball out.